Well, I got caught short. I went to the shop to buy food. I'm going to put in both my bags in one hand so I can film. I've got headphones on my head, as you can see, and I didn't really dress for the occasion. I didn't expect it to snow, but the snowflakes are actually huge. Look at the... I put it back onto HD again. I was recording for a while on a lower level, but look at the size of these individual flakes. Just coming down like great big splodges. I thought that was it for this year, and then look at that. Look at what it's like coming down like dirt, isn't it? Whacking great big flakes. I'm not sure I've ever seen such a great big flake as that. Huge things. If much of this comes down, we're going to get the same old jolly things as before. But I can tell you this, it's going to be very good. When I came out, I looked at the temperature, and I didn't particularly dress up warmly because it said 3.7 degrees outside. I've got this quite accurate thing with an outside reader, and it's reads off in my kitchen what the temperature is outside at the moment. So from 3.7 it's gone down to, well, it's still above zero because it's melting as soon as it hits the floor, but evidently up there it's below zero. But look at the size of these flakes. I'm listening, by the way, while walking along to the new Mikey Holt show, because tonight will be the time of the second Mikey Holt show, and I don't want to go risking appearing on a serious show like that without knowing what the themes are. So I was just listening to the first show from last Sunday, Sunday the 7th. It's now Sunday the 14th, so tonight is the second show by Mikey Holt. No Holt's Barred is his new thing. So, oh gosh, I'm going to change my hands over. It's otherwise going to bite my hand off, especially in the cold. This two bags. So obviously I wanted to make sure that I was up to date with all the things that happened on the first show, and I was just listening to Alan Caddick, of Alan Caddick fame. Gosh, look at the way it's coming down now. Alan Caddick of Alan Caddick fame singing Star Trekking Across the Universe karaoke live on the first Mikey Holt show. Impromptu, he didn't even know, the sound as though he didn't know beforehand that he was going to sing it. Of course, if you sing karaoke over Skype, you can't hear the music properly coming at the other end. There's only one way to sing karaoke over Skype, and that's if you've got the karaoke track on your side. Otherwise you can't get it on top. So it's the most funny thing. I nearly fell over in this snow listening to it. Oh, but look at there was, on the way walking up to the shop, which is about 1 kilometre away, it just started to slightly snow, and now coming back it's really turning into a regular blizzard. See if I can focus up on it a bit. Golly gosh, amazing. Okay. Whew. Awful. And I'm getting quite cold with it. And my nose is starting to run. So it's a little bit unexpected, which is what the weather can be like in Warsaw. Just wasn't expecting that at all. All of this was just yesterday's blizzard. It seems that more snow fell just in that one blizzard than in the whole of the winter. Several snows one after another. It's an amazing amount of snow fell in just a few hours yesterday, starting from when I came back from the shop. Completely unaware that it was going to snow again. What funny patterns it makes on everything as it stands there. Several, well, half a foot deep really. Echoing the patterns of the things underneath, 6 inches below. To wait for the lights now. Look at the trees. So there we are, a little bit of the old showing of the scenery on my ride to work because of the remarkable snowfall that happened last night. The way the trees are looking, and now in the sun all the bright colours together with the snow. It's all bright and pretty. It's not easy though, because once again all the parking spaces have been taken. Oh, and there's my alarm going off, no idea what for. But of course it would go off. The minute I try and take a pretty film, it would go off and spoil things. What could it possibly be? I know what it is. I'm supposed to make a phone call in 15 minutes time. And that's why I've got that little reminder going on. So there you go, there's the lovely park on that side. This is Żwirki i Wigury. Żwirki i Wigury is a street named after two aviators who won the 1935, was it 1935 challenge or 1932? I can't remember. It's a big challenge. It was either 35 or 32 or something like that, where there were 6 nations competing: Germany, Switzerland, France, and Poland. The Czechs were there, I think. There was various Central European nations got together, I think in Germany, and basically it was all about who can fly their tourist plane the best. And the pair of them, Żwirka and Wigura, two Polish gents, won that special, you know, one-off really tournament for sort of like creative flying, if you like, the 6 Nation Challenge. And the Poles were so happy that they named the road to the airport in Warsaw after this pair. Now this is particularly woof, something fell off the thing there. The ambulances are going like the clappers. There it goes. That's a private ambulance, a LuxMed one. Why it thinks it can be going down with a blue light on it just like a public ambulance, I know not. And there it goes, nevertheless. So look, Żwirka and Wigura, they basically died in an accident in their plane over the Czech Republic. They were just flown into Czech airspace, and they died shortly after, just a few years later, while they were still national heroes. So it was very poignant that they also died in their plane in in a plane crash. Of course, aviation was in its infancy, so just about anybody that had to do with planes knew that they were taking their life in their hands, but they kind of did it because they knew it was taking things forward for the rest of humanity. So these were things which these days you wouldn't be allowed to do. I mean, no, in these days it's the equivalent of like the shuttle and, you know, Columbia and the Columbia disaster and things like that. Whereas you wouldn't expect everybody that was a sort of first-class aviator to necessarily have a flying accident these days, but you might expect it in space travel. Anyway, over there, which you probably can't see from here, is that column over there. That's their monument to those two guys at the head of that street. I'm not even supposed to be on this lane, but you know, you try telling that to the people that won't let me in the proper lane. You've got to get out over onto this lane. It's very unergonomic as far as the traffic's concerned. To push everybody into these two lanes, leave that lane free for the buses until the garage is passed, and then it becomes available again for cars. But you've got everybody squashing into these two lanes. Of course, you can't even see the instruction written on the road when it's conditions like today anyway. And they painted bus on it, but it's a bit like the Sunshine Desserts sign in Reginald Perrin, you know, bits of it get rubbed off. Oh, and here's a nice typical aspect of driving in Poland. Look, there's you may think you're in the city, but you have tractors to deal with anyway, but this one is doubling up as a snowplow, so he obviously has a job to do. That Zetor tractor. Zetor's a fine company. It's from the Czech Republic. The Polish one was Ursus. Zetor is from the Czech Republic, recently quoted for their audit but didn't get it. So, if you want to console my disappointment in not getting the Zetor audit, then please offer me to quote for your audit if you're in the Czech Republic or Poland. How about that? I don't take anything to the films because that's not my job, but I have to keep the wolf from the door somehow, and accountancy is what I do. So if you know anybody who wants an accountant for Central Europe, or anywhere else for that matter, because I've got my network, then do let me know. And that can be a great way of giving back if you've ever had any pleasure or instruction, or anything else for that matter, or just a good laugh, because sometimes that happens apparently. Don't know why, but sometimes it does, from my films. And you want to ever give me anything back like that, then certainly, if you can put me in the way of any accounting or audit work anywhere, either me or the network, that would certainly be a very nice way, a very valuable way, much more than people that say, oh, here's my PayPal account. I would never do that. I think that's cheapening the whole thing. But if you don't know who to take as an accountant, and you know, you're just looking out for an accountant or an auditor somewhere in the world, then allow me to be your guide in the matter, and you know, obviously you'll get a proper fair market price and a good service from my network. And certainly that's worth much more than saying to people, oh, donate this or that for my PayPal account. You know, that would be something that you'll never find. You can't even give me a donation, even if you want to, and donate it to any of the charities that there may be out there. You're very welcome to do that. You can use NetPost or Hulaganov on if you want to, but I never encourage really people to do it. I assume that people, you know what they should give and don't need to be nagged about it all the time, like some people seem to think they ought to nag people to give to this, give to that. But you know, if you have a freedom of choice or have the ability to recommend or choose an accountant or an auditor or a tax advisor somewhere in the world, then you know, I can sort you out in 114 countries of this beautiful world that we live in. So please get in contact with me if you want to. Well, that would be a massive payback really, because it's a big thing to get a client, you know. It's a really big thing to get a client. So you know, if you ever wanted to give me a favour in return for anything that you may have possibly had from this channel, then that's the best way, in my case, to do it. It's a beautiful centre of business here in Warsaw. I've got to change my lane. Okay, nobody's walking. All the time snow falling off the trees. It's -3 actually, but the sun is shining with all its might, and so it's causing this snow to melt anyway. And as you can see, the roads are actually a mixture of wet and ice. It could be quite bad conditions for driving later when it all freezes up again. Once it gets to -5, then this water will all freeze up. I don't know what direction the temperature is due to be going in. It shouldn't be below 0 for that long, because it's already March the 15th today. Time marches on. Right, I'll bid you adieu for now. Nearly time for that phone call. But here we go again. Evening of the same day. It's snow again, and there's that I mentioned in the morning. The pilot's Pomnik, or memorial. As you see, we've got another whacking great big snowfall, which has turned the roads white in a mere 5 minutes of starting to fall. And you can see as well the size of the flakes, which are, it's a repetition of what was yesterday afternoon really, and evening, except for if anything it's even thicker. So we've now got into the space of 2 days more snow than we had before all winter, as far as the volume is concerned, because it's so thick. So the last lot melted without too much problems. It's just as well, because if this lot had been dumped on the top of the last lot before it had melted, then there would have been even worse problems than there were, because as it was, there were, you know, lots of streets were difficult to walk through because of the standing water. No doubt a few people got their cellars flooded. Wasn't as bad as I feared it might be though, because of the fact that the days weren't too warm, so it didn't all melt at once. It melted over the course of nearly 2 weeks, but now it's back with a vengeance. And this time it's personal. It's your personal snowstorm. Big blobs of it just coming right at you. You can imagine driving out of the city with no illumination right now, and putting your lights up high and on a dark road, and only seeing all this mesmerising white stuff coming at you. No fun, let me tell you. I've had a few blizzard rides. There's one where you just couldn't see. The blizzard was just so strong, you just couldn't see to drive. I had to orientate myself by looking at the curb just on that side, yeah? I couldn't see down the road like this. And I had to drive that way all the way up to Gdańsk one time. And that took ages and ages and ages to get up there, nearly 12 hours. Just driving at a really slow rate because you could barely see in front of the car at some points. Well, there you go. That's the reality in Poland. Moggy, if you're watching, this is what you didn't see by going back to Australia. You wanted to see the snow, but the biggest snow of all, you missed. So you didn't completely miss it because you got the chance to watch it now, but you didn't take part in it. Ooh. And I've got the flight to Prague tomorrow. I don't know what the chances are that that'll be actually going. Probably they'll call it off. So there we are.